So, family, how many of you guys have been in a place where you have felt kind of weak and vulnerable and just like at your lowest point, right? I want to challenge you in this moment to not look at that weakness or that vulnerability as a disability. I want you to look at it as an opportunity. And you might be like, Dre, like, what are you talking about? Look at my weakness as an opportunity. So I want to take you guys to 2 Corinthians 12:9, and it says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." In that scripture, it says that your weakness is an opportunity for God's power to be made perfect. Meaning, when you are in your weakest moment, it can suck, it can be kind of hard. But shift your perspective from viewing it as something that is holding you back and change it to something that understands that this weak moment, this vulnerable moment in my life is giving God the opportunity to make his power that much more greater in my life. So I challenge you, wherever you're at, if you're feeling vulnerable, if you're feeling weak, just shift your perspective and view it as an opportunity, not a disability. So I hope that helped you guys, because I know a lot of times I can get very down and out and get in some deep, dark spots in moments in my life, right? But I hope that helped you guys, added value, draws you closer to Jesus, you know what I'm saying? But without further ado, I am back with another tutorial. It is a nice low fade. We transformed this man's whole life. He goes about 2 months without a haircut, and here we bring him back together. We get him looking back to normal. So hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Comment what you think down below. Follow me at Dreclipperhands, you know what I'm saying? But stick with me and watch this video. Buddy is looking rough. But to get into this haircut, we're gonna go in with our 2-guard open. And here what I'm doing, I'm just debulking. This is getting rid of any excess hair. So when I do start the fading process, I have a nice, clean, clear canvas. And I'm flicking out when we get towards the top because I don't want to cut any of that off. You know what I mean? So make sure you're flicking out and only getting rid of the hair that is excess and shouldn't be there. And to start the fading process, I'm going to go ahead and set in my bald line. And this is a low fade, so I'm going to go ahead and drop it towards the back. You know what I mean? Give it a nice shape that fits his head shape a lot better than a straight front to back kind of fade would. And I'm going to go ahead and bald him out. Now the bald line doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be neat enough to where you can follow throughout the whole fade process, because the bald line is the foundation of the haircut if you're using this method of fading. So we're going to keep that same shape consistently throughout the entire head. Go ahead and clean them up. And then we're going to follow that bad boy up with the shaver. And what the shaver does is just get it a little bit closer to the skin, so that transition has a better gradiency. You know what I mean? Now to get into the next step, I'm going to go in with my guard open, and to save some time, I'm just going to start blending into the beard. But I'm going to go in open about a ½ inch, keeping that same shape that we set with our bald line throughout the entire head. And then follow that up with the 1 guard open. Again, keeping that same shape. And this for this fade process, I like to put in all my guidelines and then blend down. So we're going into the beard as well with the 1 guard open. My man was talking to me and turning his head, so I had to adjust it real quick. And then I'm going to follow that up with the 2 guard open. And this is not the highest guard that we use, but for right now, this is going to be the highest guard. So this is the 2 guard open. Go ahead and work that into the beard as well. Alright, now under that 2 guard open, we're going to start blending down. And I'm going in with my 1.5 open. And as you can see, I went in open and closed it gradually as needed. But we're staying right under that 2 guard open, making sure that we don't go above that. And then under that, we're going to go in with our half guard open. And again, you'll see me close it gradually as needed. You know what I mean? But as you go down, you can see it coming together already. You know what I mean? You just got to stay patient when cutting hair because it really is a mental thing. And then under that, we're going to start blending into the beard a little bit more. Going in closed, opening it gradually. As well as on the head. And you can see the blend is coming in really nice. You know what I mean? But like I said, this is a mental thing. So you could literally be in the middle of a haircut and like out of nowhere, they'll be like, man, I didn't do this right, so I'm going to start panicking. And we've all been there, but you got to stay patient. You got to trust the process or the fade process that you are using. And just make sure you're not leaving the fade as is. Make sure you always go back in detail. I cannot stress that enough. So I'm going to go ahead and get through my steps as quick as possible. And then we're going to spend some time detailing. And here you just saw me grab some excess hair that is really curly. So I'm going in with my 1.5 close. And I'm going with the grain, trying to lay those hairs down. So when I do line them up, it lines up a lot sharper. Make sure you dust them off because those hairs be tickling. And then we're going to go in with my 4 guard. And the number 4 is the highest guard that we use. And this is just to blend it into the top just a little bit better, you know what I mean? And as you can see, it's not perfect, but this blend is coming together nicely. And now we're going to go ahead and continue throughout the rest of the head. Now going to the back, we're going to go ahead and follow that same step, going in with the clipper open. And our 1 guard open. Close that just slightly. And we might not even have to use the half guard in the back because as you saw, that 1 guard close kind of got rid of that line. And this is our 2 guard open. And here you'll see me point at a little divot or fold he has in his head around the occipital bone area. So we're going to spend a little bit more time there now and in the detailing process to blend that. And then we're going to go in with our clipper closed. And from this angle, you can most definitely see a dark spot behind his ear. But don't worry, guys, we are going to go back in detail. But my preference is to get through my steps as quickly as possible and then spend about 10 to 15 minutes detailing. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and detail this side before we finish the other side of the head. And I'm not going to talk much in this portion of the video. I'm going to let you guys pay attention to what I'm doing, different techniques. Watch how I use the corner of the blade, and yeah. See, that detailing definitely took that fade to like a different level, you know what I mean? It's all in the details. That's what's gonna separate you from everyone else. And my bad from autofocus here. Kind of was tweaking a little bit, but it's about to refocus here in a sec. But I'm going in with my clipper open, going up about 1/2 inch from that bald line. And from this angle, you can really see the shape of the fade and how it fits his head shape very well. And we're following that up with the one guard open, connecting it with the other side and the back. And then we're gonna grab our 2 guard and go up again about a half an inch. We're flicking out as much as possible because we don't want to cut too much length, you know, off the top. We kind of want to just blend into what he has. And in the back, you can see his hair is very curly and it looks very spacey. So we are gonna spend some extra time in the back, just kind of detailing that area. And then right under that, we're going in with our 1.5 open, and then we're gonna go ahead and close it just slightly. See, the density of his hair in the back is not heavy. You know what I mean? He has real little density, so his hair looks very spacey. So we're gonna have to constantly just brush it in place and where it wants to lay, and just detail that joint so it's blurry.
Another finity exclusive.
With cutting hair, it's a lot of trial and error, and I know it can be scary because we always want to give the client the best haircut possible and make them feel amazing. But there's gonna be moments where you use a guard in a specific area of the head and it's like, yo, it blended very well here, but I use that same guard in this area and it looks super dark. So why I say it's trial and error is because when that situation happens, you're gonna have to go shorter in some areas and longer in some areas to allow that blend to be fluid throughout the entire head. And a line might not be coming out with a half guard, you know what I mean? So you might have to take that half guard off and use the clipper open. So it's kind of just a trial and error. Don't be too scared to take risks, you know what I mean? Because that's how you're going to learn. But yeah, it's trial and error. We all been there. We all go through it as barbers. So stay patient. I know at times it can be frustrating because you see these haircuts on Instagram and you want to make sure it's like super perfect, super blurry. You want that lineup to be sharp. You just want your haircut to be the best it could possibly be. But it takes time, fam. Do not rush the process. Just stay consistent in the grind. Don't take any shortcuts as far as like the work that you put in, you know what I mean? But yeah, that was just a little encouragement from my family. Now we finna take some time to detail. And here you'll see me, I'm using the corner of that blade to get into those dark areas that I did not get out going through the fading process. Now this is literally one of the most important tips, is always learn how to use the corners of your clipper, because that is what's gonna fine tune your blend. You know what I mean? And I'm literally about to spend like 10 minutes just detailing his haircut. It's gonna look like I'm not taking much hair off, but what it's doing is grabbing those little details that most barbers will skip over because they don't think the client notices, and making sure that I'm attacking those things and getting their haircut as perfect as possible. Now this is another trick that I've learned over cutting for a while, is I got my thinning shears, I got my fine tooth comb, and I'm just kind of blending, you know what I mean? I use the fine teeth to get into the shorter areas, the wider teeth to get into the longer areas. And this is just another form of detailing the haircut. And as you can see, that blend is looking super beautiful, guys. I can't wait to put the lineup on it. But I'm going in with the beard, I'm going in with the guard open, the clipper open. Then I'm going in with my one guard open.
Another finity exclusive.
And follow that up with the two guard open. Literally the same exact process that you use on the head, you're going to use on the beard. And with the beard, it's a little bit easier because naturally it just tends to blend a little bit better. But you always want to be careful. You don't want to take too much hair off. And for the C-cup and the arch area, I always start at the top, keeping it as natural as possible, and then go to the bottom and connect that baby in the middle. And what this allows you to do is get that nice C shape without pushing it in too much and causing his arch to look like a boomerang, or taking it so far in that when it grows back, that those stubbles and those hairs just throw off the entire look of the haircut. So you always want to keep it as natural as possible while getting it as crispy as possible. Same with the beard. I find a lot of barbers push the back of the beard in, but you always want to keep it natural because it looks good in the moment, but as soon as that baby starts growing back, you're going to tell you pushed it in. And we're going to do that same thing on the other side. Now for the front lineup, we're going to start in the middle and work towards the left side of the head. And you want to keep this as natural as possible while getting it as sharp and as crispy as possible. But if you have to go slower and not take so much hair off at once, go ahead and do that, because you can always, take off hair. You can never put it back. So if you need to go a little bit slower, I would suggest doing so. But as we line them up, you can see this is coming together very nicely. Now this is the lineup natural. It's nice and as straight as possible and as crispy as possible. But we're going to enhance it with the kiss and alcohol mix. And this is already taking a very well done haircut and just, taking it to another level. And I do have cards and taped together and cut out to the shape of the arch area. And what this does is just prevents any excess from getting onto the skin and saves some time in the cleanup process. But we're going to go ahead and spray the hairline lightly. You always want to go light and then spray it darker as needed, because you don't want to make this man look like he has a Sharpie hairline, you know what I'm saying? And then we're going to go ahead and knock down his mustache, because that thing was looking super thick. And then we're going to go ahead and line that up right above the lip.
Another finity exclusive.
And he did want his mustache lined up a little bit thicker. He didn't want a pencil thin mustache. So we're just going to clean that up a little bit. And then when lining up the beard, I always start at the top, just like how I do with the C-cup and arch area. And then I go to the bottom and meet it in the middle, and it gives the beard line that nice curve shape that we all want for the most part, you know what I mean? And then I brush away the ash line and reline it again. And that right there is how I line up the beard. And the same thing that we did on the right side of the head, we're going to continue to do on the left side of the head. And as you can see, his beard line is naturally very spacey, so we are going to enhance it just a little bit. And this is the Elegance semi-permanent hair color. And I like to use Elegance on the face because it has a much more matte, dry, natural look. And then brush it in. And then as well, we're going to apply it to the other side. And you can see what that does is just, it causes your eyes to pay a lot more attention, you know what I mean? And it makes the client feel amazing. And for the razor, we always want to stretch the skin to make sure we don't cut them. And this is getting all the stubbles around the hairline area to make sure that that hairline is sharp and as crispy as possible. And here you can see I'm lining up his neck, and it's not hurting him, but he's ticklish under his neck, which is like the only person I've ever encountered like that, which is why he's smiling. And then we're gonna get any flyaway hairs, stray hairs on the beard. And this right here is the cut YouTube. That is a nice low fade transformation on my guy Zeke with a nice curl action on top. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Follow me at Dreclipperhands. Much love. Catch y'all next time.